Now things get serious. We are talking about planning and costs. So far, we already prioritized our features, shaped several versions, and we also learn how to evaluate a feature cost. So, next and final step of this roadmap is to compile costs so that we can summarize the entire development project budget. In order to make it easy, I've created a global project quotation worksheet. The only things that matter here is to come up with the compiled figures, and it should look something like this. For each version, we sum up the feature list and the version costs. And for each version, we define how many days of each resources we need. Now, if you prefer to save some time and move on right away, just click on the link to get the worksheet. Okay, ready? Here is how it goes. So, I'm going to take all my features from the previous prioritization worksheet we worked on before. I have here all my story, what I want to do. So I'm going to just use the title here of all features I want to create and put it in my worksheet. So that's just a features list that I can paste here. Maybe just keep the value. Okay. And I can here create a component. The component is where we're going to define if we talk about a back office, like for our own administration stuff, or if it is a mobile application, or if it is an API interface with another system. You can separate your development in several components. It's up to you to organize your project in several components again. Then, what is important is for each features, and so each component as well, define how many kind of profile you need. So, like example, you might need a mobile developer, or you might need a front-end developer, or a back-end developer, or a data scientist. And for each of them, you can define how much does it cost, how much one day of their work costs. You might need as well an IT architect at some point. Then, for the project management, what I recommend usually is to take in consideration 15% of the global day of all the other work. So which means that here, the formula I put is, yes, using 15% of all the other days. And we can consider maybe $600 for a project manager. Okay, after that, what this template can do is it compiles the costs for each stage, for each features actually, and for each profile, with a global cost for each features. So that can help you as well if at some point you want to prioritize, to review the cost of each features and maybe adapt when you are going to do it. You are going to do so. So maybe at that point you might think to yourself, but I have no idea how much time any of this is going to take. And let me tell you a secret. When I do quotation, I'm not that confident either, simply because it also depends on the developer's skill set and on a certain technological challenges. So don't worry, what we are doing now is somewhat shrinking down what needs to get done. A developer himself will not be better at evaluating the required time. And in average, you will be very surprised how accurate this methodology can be. Okay, let's get back to our Excel spreadsheet. So far, we define the cost of each features. Now, let's compile all that costs per version. So you have here another tab where you can find every component that you define. Let's say that we put some mobile application at some point. Maybe we can create another one. Let's say custom component. If I go there, I will have now custom component and how much does it cost. So you can adapt for each version and have a global overview on what you are going to develop for each version and what will be the costs. And finally here, the global cost of each version with the global cost of your entire project. So this template is goes from a version 0, which usually I called a MVP, to the version 3, but you can adapt it and change the version number. You can change the version number. Next part is a resource plan, and it's somewhat what we need to describe and to share with investors, with and for the budget purpose. So here we have the required resources per type of profile, which again we reuse the previous costs. Okay, so we have here all the costs of per each version, and we can summarize how many days of each it's required. So here we have a good understanding on how many time the project can take. So depending on the parallelization that you can do with all the profile, this should be the time that's required for your project to be developed. And here, the entire project, which means that for the version 1, of course, it's going to be less. And here, of course, the cost for each profile for each version. That's all the required costs that are very, very key to have in mind when you talk about and when you plan your project development. Keep in mind that I shaped this version after helping dozens of startups evaluate their project costs. And that makes it easy to retrieve the entire cost overview, stage by stage, and resources by resources. Ready? Now it's your turn to compile costs until you come up to these figures. Let's compile required days for each features, compute required cost based on the daily rate of each profile, and identify how much cost each component on each version, what will be the cost on each version. Playing with budget will be your best help to help you prioritize development.